Ladies and gentlemen, let me start with a question that will make you uncomfortable. What if everything you've been told about exercise after the age of 70 is wrong? What if, in your quest to maintain your health, you've actually been sabotaging it? You see, we've been conditioned to believe that physical exercise, intense, long hours in the gym, or running miles on end, is the path to longevity and vitality. But this idea, especially as we age, is based on outdated assumptions that ignore the complexities of the human body and mind. More isn't always better. Sometimes less is more, and often much more effective. One of the greatest tragedies of aging is not the loss of physical strength, but the gradual decline of the mind. People spend so much time worrying about keeping their bodies in shape, lifting weights, running, pushing themselves to the limit, while completely neglecting the very thing that makes them who they are. The mind, after all, is the master of the body, not the other way around. And yet, as people grow older, they often let their cognitive faculties deteriorate, assuming it's an inevitable part of aging. But that's simply not true. The brain is like a muscle. It needs to be exercised, challenged, and strengthened continuously. Without this, everything else falls apart. Think about it. The ability to move, to engage with the world, to experience joy and purpose, all stems from your mind's ability to process reality. If that begins to slip away, if the sharpness fades, then it doesn't matter how strong your legs are or how many miles you can run. None of it matters if you can't think clearly, if you can't engage with the world in a meaningful way. This is why prioritizing mental stimulation is not just important, it is absolutely essential. Now, what does this mean in practice? It means that as you age, you must adopt habits that challenge your brain in the same way you would challenge your body. Reading is one of the most effective ways to do this, but not just any reading. Engaging, difficult reading, books that make you think, books that force you to grapple with new ideas, fiction, philosophy, history, material that expands your worldview rather than simply confirming what you already believe. And it's not enough to simply read passively. You must engage with what you're consuming. Ask questions, take notes, discuss ideas with others. This act of intellectual engagement keeps your mind active and adaptable. Another way to challenge your mind is through problem solving. People assume that once they retire, they should relax, take it easy, and stop worrying about difficult tasks. But this is a mistake. The mind thrives on difficulty. It needs challenges to stay sharp. Puzzles, chess, learning a new language, these are all ways to keep your cognitive faculties engaged. And here's something to consider. Learning something new is not just about acquiring a skill. It's about forcing your brain to make new connections, to build new neural pathways. This is what keeps the mind young, adaptable, and resilient. Social engagement is another critical factor. Too many people, as they age, begin to isolate themselves. They stop having deep conversations, stop debating, stop sharing ideas with others. But social interaction is one of the most powerful tools for keeping the mind active. When you talk to someone, really talk, not just exchange pleasantries. You're engaging in a complex cognitive task. You're processing information, formulating responses, navigating the emotions and perspectives of another person. This kind of mental engagement is irreplaceable. Beyond this, there is the question of purpose. A mind without purpose deteriorates rapidly. Many people after retirement lose their sense of direction. They no longer have a goal to work toward, a reason to wake up in the morning with a sense of urgency. This is dangerous. The mind needs a reason to stay sharp. This is why it's critical to find something meaningful to pursue, whether it's teaching, mentoring, creating art, or contributing to a community. Purpose gives the mind something to hold on to, something to strive toward. It is not optional, it is essential for maintaining cognitive vitality. Aging does not have to mean mental decline. It is not an unavoidable fate, but rather a consequence of neglect. If you train your mind with the same intensity and dedication that people apply to their bodies, you will not only retain your cognitive abilities, but you will continue to grow, to learn, and to engage with the world in a deep and meaningful way. This is what it truly means to stay alive. As people age, they often cling to the belief that physical strength alone is the key to maintaining independence and vitality. They chase after the same forms of exercise they did in their younger years. lifting heavy weights, running long distances, pushing their bodies to extremes. But what they fail to recognize is that the real enemy of aging is not weakness. It is stiffness, immobility, and the gradual loss of coordination. What truly determines quality of life after 70 is not raw strength, but the ability to move fluidly, maintain balance, and remain free from chronic pain. The problem is that most people don't realize this until it's too late. Over time, the body becomes less forgiving. Joints lose their range of motion, tendons tighten, and movements that once felt natural start to feel restricted. And yet, instead of addressing these issues, many people double down on intense exercise routines that place even more strain on their already stressed bodies. The unfortunate result is that they often accelerate the very decline they are trying to prevent. Instead of building resilience, they set themselves up for injury, joint deterioration, and chronic pain. What they need is not more brute force, but a smarter, more adaptable approach to movement. Maintaining flexibility should be a top priority. It is flexibility, not just strength, that allows a person to bend down to pick something up, to twist to reach for an object, to step confidently without fear of falling. Without flexibility, even simple daily activities become difficult and in some cases dangerous. The good news is that flexibility can be trained and improved at any age. Gentle stretching, yoga, and mobility exercises can counteract the stiffness that creeps in over time. The key is consistency. Just a few minutes a day of targeted stretching can restore lost range of motion and prevent the kind of restrictions that lead to discomfort and injury. Equally important is balance. Falls are one of the leading causes of serious injury in older adults. And yet most people do very little to train their sense of balance. They assume that as long as they remain strong, they will remain stable. But balance is not purely a function of strength. It is a skill, and like any skill, it must be practiced. Simple exercises like standing on one foot, shifting weight from side to side, or walking heel to toe can significantly improve balance and coordination. Activities such as Tai Chi, which emphasize slow, deliberate movements, are particularly beneficial because they train the body to maintain stability in a controlled, mindful way. Joint health is another often overlooked factor. The constant pounding of high-impact exercises can wear down cartilage, leading to pain and reduced mobility. Many older adults develop knee, hip, and back problems, not because they are inactive, but because they are engaging in activities that their bodies can no longer recover from as easily. Instead of running or lifting excessively heavy weights, they should focus on low-impact movements that preserve joint integrity while still keeping the body strong. Swimming, cycling, and walking are excellent alternatives that provide cardiovascular benefits without unnecessary strain. Posture also plays a crucial role in mobility. Years of sitting, poor movement habits, and muscle imbalances can lead to postural issues that affect everything from walking gait to breathing efficiency. Bad posture doesn't just make a person look older. It actively contributes to discomfort, stiffness, and an increased risk of injury. Strengthening the core and maintaining good alignment through exercises like Pilates or controlled body weight movements can help correct these imbalances and keep the body functioning optimally. Many people resist these kinds of changes because they are attached to their old ways of training. They equate gentler, more deliberate movements with weakness. But the truth is that adapting one's approach is not a sign of decline, it is a sign of intelligence. It is the difference between those who age with grace and resilience and those who find themselves trapped in a body that no longer responds the way it once did. There is no avoiding the passage of time, but there is a way to move through it with strength and confidence. Those who prioritize flexibility, balance, and mobility over sheer strength will find themselves capable of living with greater freedom and ease. The goal is not just to survive aging, it is to remain active, engaged, and unrestricted. The body is an incredible machine, capable of adaptation at any stage of life. The key is to work with it, not against it. As people grow older, they tend to focus on their physical well-being, making sure they exercise, eat well, and maintain their mobility. But they often overlook something just as crucial: human connection. The reality is that no amount of exercise or careful dieting will protect someone from the devastating effects of loneliness. Social isolation is one of the most dangerous threats to a person's health. particularly in the later years of life. Studies have shown that chronic loneliness can be as damaging as smoking, leading to higher rates of depression, cognitive decline, and even an increased risk of heart disease. Yet, despite this, many older adults find themselves retreating from social life, whether due to retirement, the loss of loved ones, or simply the shifting nature of relationships over time. What they don't realize is that maintaining meaningful connections is not just a luxury. It is an essential component of longevity and well-being. Human beings are social creatures by nature. From the time we are born, we depend on interaction to shape our understanding of the world. As children, we learn through play and shared experiences. As adults, we define our lives through relationships, careers, and the communities we build. But something happens as people age. They start to believe the false idea that they are meant to become more isolated, that loneliness is simply a part of getting older. This belief is not just wrong, it is dangerous. It leads to a slow withdrawal from life, a gradual shrinking of one's world, until the days become monotonous and empty. When people stop engaging with others, their minds begin to deteriorate. Conversations become fewer, mental stimulation decreases, and without realizing it, they begin to fade into the background. One of the most powerful ways to maintain a sharp mind and a vibrant spirit is to actively seek out relationships that matter. This means making an effort to engage with family, friends, and the community in meaningful ways. It's not enough to simply be around people. True connection requires depth. Superficial small talk will not nourish the mind the way real, thoughtful conversations do. The kind of discussions that challenge perspectives, encourage new ideas, and bring laughter and joy into daily life are the ones that truly sustain a person. These moments of connection keep the brain active and engaged, forcing it to process new information, navigate social dynamics, and remain adaptable. Aging should not mean becoming invisible. Too many older adults allow themselves to fade into the background, assuming that their best years are behind them, but the truth is, every stage of life presents new opportunities for connection. Joining clubs, attending social gatherings, mentoring younger generations, or even volunteering in the community can bring a renewed sense of purpose. Purpose is what keeps people alive. The feeling that one's presence matters, that there is still work to be done, is what keeps the mind sharp and the heart full. Technology also offers ways to maintain relationships, but it must be used wisely. While social media and video calls can be a lifeline for those who live far from loved ones, they should never replace real in-person interaction. There is something irreplaceable about sitting across from someone, reading their expressions, feeling the energy of a shared space. The warmth of human presence cannot be replicated through a screen. Another aspect of social well-being is emotional resilience. Life brings loss, friends pass away, family members move on, circumstances change. But allowing grief and loss to turn into prolonged isolation is a mistake. The best way to honor the past is to continue engaging with the present. New friendships can be formed, new experiences can be had, and meaningful relationships can still grow. There is no age limit on human connection. What people need to understand is that they are not meant to go through life alone, especially in their later years. The healthiest, happiest older adults are those who remain engaged with others, who continue to laugh, share stories, and participate in the world around them. Physical health matters, but without strong social bonds, even the strongest body can feel empty. The key to aging well is not just in keeping the body active, but in keeping the spirit alive through connection, purpose, and meaningful relationships.